Hello? Is this thing on? Hello? Happy Sunday, everybody. Jeffrey, please let me know the levels are good. I have this nasty habit. And of course, one of the cats comes in just when we're starting the show. It's because my wife's on a walk right now, and this cat has like a separation anxiety. But it is a beautiful Sunday here in the Hudson Valley of New York, and we're back here on Logic Live again. It's great to see everybody. Randy, don't thank you. See, this is what I mean. This is true friendship, right? Right here. Andy, we can't hear you. Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you, Jeff. Valentine, how are you, my friend? Hello, Richard. So that's Richard from New Zealand. Valentine all the way from Ukraine. Charles Quinn from, is it Dobbs Ferry? Randy, my skin tones look extra warm every day. And that's because I calibrate my camera. I am so excited for today because, well, we all know that Brian Fox is like one of my three favorite people in the world. And so far, we've only really worked together on like render domes. And, we could do a whole separate podcast. In fact, we have done a whole separate podcast on this. But I am just absolutely excited for today. I have a whole introduction written, but I love this kind of episode where we can show people extra value that they have in the tools that they already own. But like the music has gone introspective, and we're just a few seconds away from you potentially screwing up either the dissolve or remembering to turn everyone else's mic on. So let's see. Oh, come on, right? Randy, what did it take? 18 months? Wait, you can hear me, right? Okay, thank God. Hey, everybody, it's Sunday. It's Logic Live. My name is Andy. Welcome back to all of our old friends, and welcome to all of our new friends. Let's get this party started with some slides. This is Logic Live episode 61, where we're going to look at Sapphire. Actually, more than just 2021.5 with our friends from Boris FX. Let's dive right in. Hey, before we do any sponsors or anything, do you have a tip, a trick, or a shot that you'd like to share? We're going to do a Logik.tv virtual NAB user group on Sunday, October 10th at 2 p.m. And so if you have something you'd like to share with the community, just like an old-fashioned user group, just email me, Andy@Logik.tv, and we'll get you on there. Thank you very much. And yes, you're absolutely right, Quinn. 61 Logic Lives. I can't believe it, and it would be nothing without all you guys. So thank you so much for your support. Speaking of support, Logic Live is brought to you today by Synesys.io, solutions development, integration, and support. These guys are more than just resellers, they're integrators. So if you have any questions about how to incorporate new technologies, whether it's remote or on-prem at your facility or in your home studio, reach out to our friends at Synesys.io, supporting flame artists since 1997. Also want to thank our friends at AJA, especially the lovely and talented and lovely Steve Losi, for their support. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about this a little bit later, but if you're interested in anything that BorisFX has to offer, you can save yourself 15% by using the Logic discount code at checkout. That's Logic-15, and that's on everything that they sell, standalone or subscription. If you're in the need of engineering support, reach out to Tom and Tom at Gunpowder, info@gunpowder.tech. That's anything, again, on-prem or in the cloud. Randy and I have been using their Cloud Flame that runs in the Google Cloud. It's amazing. If you have any questions about it, info@gunpowder.tech. And by the way, we've got merch. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give away some of it later today. You can head on over to Logik.tv and outfit yourself in some of this finery. And, of course, we would be nothing without our supporters on Patreon. Randy and I put together 3 levels of support, SD, HD, and 4K. These are all of our patrons right now, and the list keeps growing. We want to thank you all so much for supporting what we're doing here at Logic. If you'd like access to some exclusive content, some merch, some discounts, and other benefits for as little as $5 a month, please head on over to patreon.com/LogicTV and sign up to become a patron. One of those perks is we do a patrons-only exclusive Q&A with our guests right after the show here. So if you'd like to be a part of that, it's not too late. Sign on up and head on over. And want to say happy birthday again to the forum. The forum is now over a year old, and Randy set it up so that everybody's getting their cake day announcements, for the anniversary of when they joined the forum. Thank you so much, Randy, for keeping the forum going. And Logic Academy, the first installment of Logic Academy has been out for a little while. It's Connect to Conform by Jeff Kyle. This is a wonderful 3-part series on an amazing workflow in Flame. If you've ever been curious about trying Connect and Conform and seeing how it can simplify what is an ever-changing nightmare of like versions and aspect ratios and things like that. Head on over to Logik TV. Check out Logik Academy. You can download the Flame Archive, which will give you all the footage and everything to follow along. And later this month, we're going to have some new Logik Academy installments to release to the community. Jeff did another amazing job with one on the image node. And then our friend Randy McEntee put together 2 Logik Academies, one called 8-Minute Aces, which of course opens up the option for a 9-Minute Aces to come out in the spring, which I know we're all looking forward to, and Intro to NDI. So again, we should be announcing those very, very soon. And I want to thank everybody for all the great feedback that they've given Jeff, who did just an amazing job in giving this back to the community. All right, my friends, let me switch windows here and bring myself back on. Excuse me. I first started using Sapphire in 1997, and they have been a must-have for me and thousands of artists all over the world ever since. With over 270 effects and 3,000 presets, you can do more with Sapphire than ever before. But I can tell you, like, a problem that I run into is that I'm usually so busy that I rarely look beyond the handful of Sapphire plugins that I use on a regular basis. But there's so much more just waiting for you to be used, or waiting for you there to be used. And one of my favorite things to do on Logik Live, as I said, is to help artists get more value out of the software that they already have. So let's get down to it. My guests today are Brian Fox, Director of Product Marketing, and Larissa Supnik, Lead Software Engineer, both from BorisFX. So let me see if I can make this happen. I've never had 2 guests at the same time using the software that I'm using. So anything, Randy, anything could happen. Oh my God.
Hey.
It worked. Hello, Brian and Larissa.
Hey, Andy. Sorry, I'm still laughing at your bumbling intro.
You're still laughing at me? That's all right.
Yeah.
It's something that I flourish in. It's the environment that I'm most comfortable in. So thank you very much. What I really need to do is add more screen. I need a teleprompter here on top of like the 3 screens, the camera, and the cat that I have. The 2 cats in the studio here. But welcome. Sapphire, what do you have for us today, Brian and Larissa?
What do we have for you today? First of all, I want to say thank you for the kind words, Andy. It definitely should. Everyone out there should know how much I like you. The fact that I am here on a Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon to live
when did the
stream
Patriots
with you.
play?
I can't think of anything else I would want to do on the last good New England weather days on the weekend than to live stream at 2:00. So no, I am super excited.
We call that a backhanded compliment, folks.
Good job. Good use of Sapphire flash bulbs on the slides too. I like to see a lot of that.
Yep. On brand.
We're gonna look at some fun stuff today. I'm gonna show you my favorite new effect, which is Sapphire Ultra Glow, which was just included in Sapphire 2021. I'm gonna talk about the builder. I'm gonna talk about how the builder can help you completely reconfigure the OFX panel to however you like it. So if you hate our page layout, you can completely redo that with the builder. I'm gonna show you really what the builder's used for as well. I'm gonna show you some little hidden secrets of a new effect, Sapphire Ultra Zap, which is another great new effect we introduced. And if I have time, which I highly doubt, because that in itself could be an 8-hour presentation, I'm gonna jump into some transitions and show you how you can use those in the timeline and how you can use transitions in some new and interesting ways. So I'll
try to schedule that appearance for like the release date for either Dune or like the new Matrix movie or something, and that way,
I tell people, Larissa's heard me say this joke all the time. People all the time be like, hey, I have like an hour. Can you just show me everything in Sapphire? And I'm like, an hour? We can talk about the preset browser, I legit need probably like at least like 12 to 16 hours to probably get through half. There's 270 effects. There's integrated bokeh tracking. There's the builder. There's a whole bunch in there. And many things I don't know as well. So I'm not sure Carl and Gary could probably demo everything that's currently in Sapphire for you. So we're going to cherry pick the good stuff and have some fun today.
Awesome. And of course, I just want to shout out, Jeff Kyle says, Brian representing the gaming world with the Zelda shirt. So
what?
There you go. I can hear the music in my head. So let's get this underway. Brian's going to run the demo. Larissa's going to keep him honest and also answer any other technical questions. If you do have any questions for Brian or Larissa throughout the course of this, please put them in the comments, and I'll make sure that they see them.
Cool. I'm
All
gonna
right.
drop my desk. I love the uplift desk, by the way. Highly,
Oh, it's
highly recommend it.
oh,
Highly recommend
completely.
it as I sit.
I have my
Um,
watch, and I've conveniently gone back to just a view of me, so we don't have to watch Brian go down. It looks like that might have
Bri-
muted Brian at the same time because of my complete inability to run this software.
can you
So
hear me
let's
now?
see. I'm going to go back. There we go. Hey,
Back.
hey, Brian. Where
Brian
did you
can only
go?
stand. Brian can only stand for 10 minutes at a time. Right before Brian assumes the laziest position you could
Yes.
possibly
Welcome to the
imagine.
aging process, my friends. All
Yes.
right. Let me bring up the flame here. All
Cool.
right. There's a UI we're all familiar with.
All right. So, um, we're gonna have some fun today. Like I said, we're gonna run through some of the new hotness that Larissa and her team have put into Sapphire 2021. Everything I'm going to show you today is available right now in Sapphire 2021.5. So we're not showing anything NDA or anything like that. So everything is available right now. I will talk about some new features that are coming pretty soon. But feel free to jump in the chat, ask me any questions. I love to freestyle. I love to yap about Sapphire. So if you let me go on and on, I'll do my whole presentation. But I love to talk about other stuff as well. So going around talking to different artists, talking to different Flame artists, After Effects artists, it's really all the same. Everybody says the same thing about Sapphire. Like, I love Sapphire. I know it's amazing. I use 5FX, right? that's like the like I know it's coming in almost
Yep,
everything. And
that's
that's
me.
like that's totally, by the way, that was me. Like, I started off first time I saw Sapphire was not as wasn't 1998, but or 7. It was probably like 01ish on a smoke, right? And same thing, like I used film effect and I think I used, glow and rack to focus and distort. And that was pretty much it. And we get that. And that's totally like acceptable and that's fine. You guys are working for a living. I don't expect that everybody has 8 hours a day to sit around and play with Sapphire. I like to say that like my usual retort when someone says I only use 5FX, I'm like, well, yeah, you are everybody. The only people who use more than, 5 to 10 Sapphire effects are usually like Alan and I who are testing, So it's like it's perfectly fine, like the good news is that if I can show you like, 2 or 3 more effects, we can get a pretty, doubling or tripling of most people's usage. So we're always adding in new Sapphire effects, and these kind of demos are great to just get in and to kind of show you what's new because we are updating Sapphire usually twice a year with new effects, and we're always improving old effects, adding new presets in, and good to just take some time and look at kind of what we like specifically to the Flame community, because most of you guys, like I said, are working for a living and aren't watching our glorious marketing videos nonstop. So let's. Although I
Hey,
recommend it,
I tune in on Wednesdays for Boris
I
FX
highly
Live.
I highly recommend it. If you unsubscribe from our email list, I will know. Okay, let's just say that. I'll put that right out there. I will know. Okay, so let's talk about Sapphire 2021.5. And I want to start with actually let me start with this. I was going to say this. I'm just going to answer quickly, very like my number one questions I get asked about Sapphire, which are always pricing questions, which there is tons of confusion on. So let's go ahead, and I have the world's most expensive PowerPoint here. Running, running, right? So Sapphire for OFX, monthly subscriptions, $62 a month. You can get Sapphire per month, $62 a month. You don't have to sign up for any, you can go month to month. At some point, it becomes a lot more cost effective if you're going month to month with us to jump into an annual subscription. Anything you pay per monthly will get prorated towards the annual. So feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, if you do 3 or 4 months in a row, we'll prorate you and sign you up and get you on the annual plan so you can save some money. $4.95 per year. This is an annual subscription. And if you want to get the permanent license, if you want to buy it outright and never pay for it again, that is $15.95. And that includes 1 year of upgrade and support. So you basically get anything that's going to come out during that calendar year. So a good way to think of it is you're always going to get the next version. Like that's the way it comes out. We're
Mhm.
pretty good on that. Even if like sometimes there may be some edge cases where people buy a permanent license and they miss it by a couple weeks, we always grandfather those people in. So we will work with you however you want. If you pay that for that permanent license, and you can either stay with us on upgrade support, that is $450 per year if you want to stay on that plan. If you don't, you get that next version, and then you're on your own. um, all Sapphire licenses, this is new for OFX, work for Adobe and OFX on the same workstation. So whatever you have, if you have Resolve, if you're on a Mac, if you're on Linux, if you're on Mac, you could have, yeah, there you go. um, It'll work in After Effects. It'll work in Premiere. It'll work in Baselight, right? It'll work in Mystica. It'll work in Nuke. There's a whole bunch of pretty much all the OFX applications. That is one license for Adobe and OFX. That's one of the big benefits of moving away from Sparks over to OFX.
Mhm.
Um, One other thing I always like to point out: the Sapphire and Mocha, you can buy Sapphire and Mocha together. That's $75 a month. That's a bundle. um, Sapphire and Mocha annual subscriptions $495 per year, so that's an extra $100 per year for Mocha, which is a great deal if you're interested in both. And if you want to buy those two outright, that is $19.95. And like last thing, just to let everyone know, in case there's any confusion, Sapphire Sparks were discontinued in May of 2019. That was over 2 years ago. It seems like a different reality and a different lifetime, but that happened. Sapphire 2019.5 was the last supported version of Sparks for Flame. Currently, it is not supported, and OFX is by far like the future for Sapphire and Flame. We're all in on OFX in terms of moving forward. If anyone is interested in any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to email me or reach out to me in any types of ways, and we can talk about some of the nuances moving from Sparks to OFX. But overall, that's it at a high level. And moving forward, like I said, we're not developing Sapphire Sparks in any way, shape, or form. We're not even building it internally anymore or testing it. Everything is put into OFX at this point. All
Brian,
right.
somebody's asking about Continuum in Flame for
Yeah, that's
OFX.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Continuum is currently not supported for Flame. That being said, it kind of works. Like I have it here. Um, if I
But only
jump
on
in,
Macs.
yeah, only on Macs. There's no Linux support. So Continuum does work. If I let's jump over here into some node. Let's jump ahead, and you can see I have BCC loaded up on here. The thing is, there's some OpenGL modules and there's some like separate applications which will not work. So Primat doesn't work, Particle Illusion doesn't work. Most of the straight filters work, like the BCC blurs and rack to focuses and some of that work, but it's not supported because the whole thing isn't supported as now. So it's definitely, like I always tell people, download a free trial, check it out. If the certain continuum filter that you're looking for, it might work, it might not. But we don't, just to let you know, that is unsupported. We don't test against it. There's no Linux support. So that's in generally why it's not supported. Because it's OFX, it's going to just work out the box. But there's definitely interested to hear if you guys would like to hear Continuum supported in the future in a Mac only world. Like rewriting it for Linux would be a pretty tall task, but getting things like Particle Illusion and Primat working Mac only, those are definitely stuff we think about and talk about internally a lot for the future of Flame.
And just Particle Illusion's great. I highly recommend anybody check it out. Go to the website, download it. It's a free download, and
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I use it standalone and render the things out, and then just bring them in as an element. It's a wonderful tool.
Yep. Particle Illusion standalone is free. You can export ProRes 444 right out of there, and you can comp with it. You can get the plugin. That's really cheap right now. That's $95, I think, per year for the plugin. But like I said, that's supported for other OFX applications. I tried to launch it recently, and it just doesn't. It's like that window doesn't load in Flame. It'll just knock off instantly. But hopefully, we can get something like that fixed in the future, and we can offer PI for OFX for Flame for $95 a year. I think that's a great deal as well. If anybody wants to learn anything more about Sapphire, in general, I was just going to say, go to the Boris FX website. Just go ahead and jump on the Sapphire page. You'll see there's a ton of information on here. You can watch all our lovely marketing videos. But some things to point out, go down to the bottom. There is a nice little effect browser where you can see all of the different effects, right? And definitely go to the go to the training page, click all videos, and you can filter just by Sapphire. So you can see all the Sapphire videos that we're going to go over today. And this is just a good way to kind of do some learning on your own if you want to dive in. We've created a ton of new content. Like Larissa and I both come from Gen Arts, right? And we joined Boris FX a couple years ago during the acquisition, and that's one of the kind of good things. We've brought that Gen Arts mentality of like a ton of content and a ton of training materials thrown on there. All right, let's jump back into Flame and let's talk about Ultra Glow, right? So Ultra Glow is a brand new effect that we introduced in Sapphire 2021. This is one of my favorite new effects. Absolutely love this. So if anyone's wondering how you can actually go ahead and add something new or add Sapphire if you've just been used to Sparks in the past, this is a new open effects node, right? You can grab it right here. You can throw it up right in your timeline. Or better yet, you can just search, which I love. You can just search Ultra Glow, right? Open effects, and you can add your node there. I actually have a bunch of custom nodes as well. Like one of the ones I'll show you guys is this new like Ultra Glow full reset mode. And I love that the search picks that up. If I set Ultra Glow, I can get my custom node there, my Ultra Glow reset, and add that in. So that's a great way to go ahead and add Sapphire and get to Sapphire. But if you want to just go ahead and like grab that open effects node, throw it in batch, right? And then let's go over to load plugin. This is where you would choose all of your Sapphire. You're going to see the lovely picture of Saturn we have kept, which is a nice I believe it's a
Public
NASA
domain,
image.
baby.
Yeah, public domain, right? Which is probably why Gary picked it. So we can go ahead and grab any effect. I'm going to grab Ultra Glow, throw it on there, and now we're good to go. So now we'll see. We have all our parameters here. Good to know that there is always a main page, and then we have 2, 3, and 4 different pages all in a horizontal display that you guys should be used to. We definitely like a good thing to know about Sapphire is it is always a work in progress. We're always working on it. Previous versions of Sapphire OFX had the mocha parameters all on page 1. So your whole page 1, which should be your like top parameters you care so much about, those were all mocha parameters. So we now move those down to page 3. So that's where you'll find those mocha parameters as well. So that was kind of listening to artists who know best and trying to make these a little bit more user friendly to learn. So Ultra Glow is basically S Glow. Let me go ahead and let me jump in to my 2 up here. So I have some type here. We're going to start it on type, and then we'll show you guys also on video as well. Ultra Glow is Sapphire Glow, but kind of taken to the next level. We have ultrafied it, and just thinking of like how can we improve upon a legendary effect like S Glow? S Glow has been around for 20 years. People love it. It's easily the most popular Sapphire effect. I always joke that I would have an S Glow for life t-shirt. So look for that in the Boris FX store coming soon. Right. So I use Ultra Glow and I use glow on everything. And I will say like Ultra Glow has now, I don't use S Glow anymore. And that's out of no disrespect to S Glow, but it's because Ultra Glow is S Glow, right? It's just added and kind of tweaked, and we've added a whole bunch of new params. So under the hood, it's the same core algorithm, and we've just added some new really fun stuff on top of that. All right, so let's get into Ultra Glow and start to look at it. Your first thing is you'll notice one of the things we're doing with all our new effects is we're definitely introducing like a guided workflow. So the way these params are organized is definitely in a linear process. Like we want you to kind of, if you look at it, we're titling things like we want you to start with a primary glow to work on that. Then we're going to move to the afterglow. And then we can work on edges. We can add atmosphere and highlights. And then finally, if you're looking to composite or track with mocha, that's where you can do that at the end there. So just good to know. The same thing with Ultra Zap. I'll show you this kind of guided workflow is definitely something that is conscious. So start at the beginning, start on the main page, and then move down page 2, page 3, page 4 as well. All right, so Ultra Glow. If you guys have used S Glow, this is very similar. We're going to start with brightness, right? And brightness is going to define overall your overall glow, right? Definitely don't want to do
good.
that.
No, I would
Let's stay
start
to
there, definitely.
let's stay to a 3. Let's stay to a 1 or maybe a 2 as well. Okay, and then what we can do is we can use threshold to dial in the brightest parts of the image. So threshold is isolating the glow based upon luminance values. So you can see I'm just glowing the hottest part of the image, the most brightest there. I'm applying my glow to, right? So we can do width. So we can amp up our width, and you'll actually see what's interesting is it defaults to afterglow turned on. I'm going to turn off afterglow right now, so you can see right now we basically have a normal S glow. So let's put the glow up nice there, the width, right? But this is where things kind of change now. Like the introduction of afterglow is basically a secondary glow that we can put on top. So if I now turn up the afterglow, we can add on a secondary glow on top of the glow, and we can actually, now that is linked to the overall brightness. So if I increase the brightness, we're going to increase both. But if I change the actual color of the afterglow, you can see here what we're doing. We have 2 different glows going on. So we can change some of these colors. Let's do like maybe a greenish.
Oh,
or
that's
maybe
great.
let's do blue, right? And then let's take the second one and put something more magenta on top of it. And then let's introduce this. Let's put this up to like a 4 or something like this. So we can get a more realistic, natural looking glow. And there's just more options for you to get this really nice hot glow as well. So this is like really where we start to diverge from the original glow. But let me back up again and show you like one of the most important things to know about any Sapphire effect is always like presets, right? So always go ahead and check out the presets. We put a lot of time and effort into these. So you can see there's a whole bunch of presets. Some are created for type and some are created on. All have nice little descriptions in it. It'll tell you exactly, like, I love this, 70% of the time it works every time. Creating presets is a long, arduous process that gets very boring, right? And creating these texts. So you'll definitely find some cheeky comments in the descriptions, but some good stuff as well, such as works for video, works for clips with alpha. But the one thing I want to show you guys is this full reset. This is like one of the best. This is one of the best presets. I use this all the time, and this is what I showed you, which I saved as a custom node, and I use all the time. A full reset is just zeroing out everything, and it is not the default settings. The default settings are always there to show you kind of very quickly what the effect could do. The full reset is one we want to go back to kind of, you want to go back to the beginning starting blocks and now really create a new effect as well. So let's go ahead and let's add on this a little bit. Let's add on a little bit of Ultra Glow. I'll put like maybe usually about a 200 works good. We'll go back to doing something blue here. Let's see here. And let's go to page 2. And we can see some new parameters such as edges, right? So we can actually put on an edge detect, and we can find the images. We can find the image's edge, right? And we have a couple different modes in here. What I love is we can do an edges only, and we can get some really nice hot glows. So if I go back to edges only and go back to the front, let's turn down the parameters here, and let's up this. And you can see here we're getting that nice pink edges in here, and there's really the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do with type with this effect, and there's tons of parameters as well. I have actually some colored type in here, but let me go ahead and grab this text. Just grab some white text and throw it in, and grab some of these presets with just white text, and you'll see we get some really nice looks, like especially stuff like here, like some really pretty glows. Works great on text, works great on video. I'll jump into video in a second here. Once again, you can do the edges trick in terms of edges only. You want to turn that on. And then a whole nother new parameter that is added to Ultra Glow is atmosphere and highlights, right? So I'm going to do highlights first. If I jump on highlights, you can see here is what we're doing is applying like a little bit of noise pattern and to pick up those highlights. This stuff has the speed parameter actually turned on to 1. So if I play through, you're going to see it's actually animating. If anyone's familiar with some of the Sapphire textures in here, you can
Texture
kind of
folded.
see what we're doing. Exactly that. Like there's that same type of texture that's under here. Very similar to params in terms of layers, in terms of the threshold as well, in terms of like the speed. If you want that to actually like just slowly undulate through, put it down to like a 0.2 or something like that. Maybe that's a bit too slow. Actually, 1 we actually determined was the sweet spot. So let's go ahead and hit stop. And a 1 will give you that nice moving through as well. So along with highlights, you can also add in some atmosphere as well. So you can see here I just turned off the edge detect, but I still have edges only on. So let's go back and let's do this. And then you can jack up that atmosphere. If I turn it on, is exactly what you think. It's like that little bit of texture, almost like a little smoky bit of noise that you can add onto there. Definitely a good way to sell it when trying to actually glow different types of video. You can adjust the speed. If you turn the speed all the way up, you'll get a very fast moving type atmosphere. I always like to kind of turn it down and get the atmosphere down so it's more just like a hint of movement in the glow and really sells it as a more realistic effect. So we have basically the big differences in Ultra Glow is we have the ability to add an afterglow on there, completely separate parameters for the afterglow, but yet linked to the overall brightness and threshold parameters of your main glow. We have the ability to do an edge detect as well and apply a highlight pass and work on atmosphere as well. Now, I love to show this stuff on text just because like it looks super pretty, but you don't have to use it on text as well. You can use it obviously on any sort of video. Here I have applied my little Ultra Glow and same type thing. I can do a reset and get back to the beginning and then do the same technique we did before. You want to work with threshold to dial in. Let's do a 0.9 something. And then we can add on our Ultra Glow. Let's do a nice different color here. So keeping still that same base white glow, but adding on the blue secondary glow. And then we can start to do some fun stuff. Like this has its own X and Y parameters, which are hidden in the interface, which is something we'll try and fix, but that is a horizontal stretch X and Y. And then there are some streaks as well. So if you want to stretch out that Ultra Glow, you can see I can turn that down. And then you can use the streaks to just pull the ends as well. So not like an overall width, but a really streaky hot look as well. So you can really get some fun stuff, and then you can play it through here, and we can get a really nice looking glow. I mean, to be honest with you now, like I said, I use Ultra Glow on everything. It's almost like a cheat. Anytime I'm looking at a piece or I'm looking to add in a little something, I'm almost like a completely addicted to adding Ultra Glow, almost to a fault.
I was just going to say, but Quinn said it perfectly in the comments that, the benefit of this really is these are all steps we used to do separately. These are all nodes that we would tie together and have to loop back in and comp over each other. And then, of course, you had to change them. You had to change them in multiple places. To have all this in one tool is just wonderful.
100%. And the other beauty to know, too, is that all of our effects are cross-platform as well. So if somebody is creating an effect, say in another host system, they can save that Ultra Glow preset and share it with Flame now, which is great. So exactly, right?
We've been waiting for that for years.
Thank you.
Here's Randy McEntee saying, "How did I not know about Ultra Glow?" See,
Yes,
perfect.
yes. It's not through the fault of
Not for a
my
lack of
marketing
trying.
materials. Not from my lack of emailing you, Randy. It's probably for you putting us in the spam folder. The thing is, like, so now what I'm saying is now, like, those all those Avid editors can send to you their UltraGo settings, right?
Oh no, it's great.
And view
So
that
the
as well.
gone are the days of getting a screen grab of their like keyframe window in Avid. I mean,
100%.
oh, I've been
Yep.
asking for this for years. It's wonderful. And I love how in the preset browser you can see, a quick preview of what, what that preset's going to do to your type or to whatever image is going in. It's great.
Yep. Yep.
And not just a static icon.
Tons of work I put into those presets. Like, John, Ben, and myself, we really we're all, artists ourselves. So we're all creating those from scratch. And really what we're thinking is like, we brainstorm together and think of like, here are all the ways we think we can use this. What can we create presets to show people kind of like all the different stuff it can do, but also like try and make them useful too. Like, we don't want to just kind of do wacky presets just to show something. We're always like, let's create a cool look from it, but let's show a use of highlights here, or let's show a use of atmosphere as well. So definitely check out Ultra Glow. It is, like I said, it is a fun new one inside Sapphire. Any other questions on Ultra Glow before I move on to S Effect?
Quinn just suggested that maybe for like 2022, the 2022 release, the next update could be, super ultra mega glow or something like that. Just wanted to throw that in the kitty for the, to make sure it hits the list.
Noted, Quinn. Thank you. Everybody's a product designer. Okay, cool. So one of the things I want to show you guys too is, and I'm going to put it ahead of Ultra Zap, because like I said, I'm totally jammed for time here. But I want to talk about S Effect because it is amazing, and it's going to solve to like a couple little hacks or a couple of issues like we just shot with that afterglow parameter that's hidden behind there. I just want to show you guys very quickly Builder. I could spend a good full day on just demoing Builder, but I want to show you guys just so if you haven't seen it, we can talk about it. And I like to say there's like three major ways people use Builder. Number one is to create custom effects, and which is like it's a little batch with Sapphire that you can use just like Quinn had mentioned earlier, that you can combine a bunch of different Sapphire effects into new effects together. But you can also use it just to kind of look at all Sapphire in one and look at all presets, because the Builder is every single Sapphire effect jam into one node, right? So you can kind of use it to just say, rather than loading on UltraGlow and looking at UltraGlow presets, loading on Blur and looking at Blur presets, you can use it all together. And then the third way is you can just use it to customize params. So you can just take UltraGlow on there and just very quickly choose what params you want to get promoted back to Flame, and basically like reorganize your little layout window. So those are the three ways people use it. And I think it can be very useful to everyone. So jumping in, let's see where I had it, somewhere in here. Here we go. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and drag on. Let's just do it from scratch. Let's do S Effect. And there are two Builder effects, right? There's S Effect and S Transition. And S Effect is for if you want to create an effect, and S Transition is if you want to create a transition. But they're basically like the same style and same workflow. So when you connect Builder or S Effect onto a node, I just have it on black here, it does nothing, right? And that's like awesome. Like, it is easily my favorite effect by far. I think it's the best Sapphire effect, and it absolutely does nothing from the scratch. So that is that's always interesting, right, for people to get their heads around. That's because it is a blank slate. It's like an empty canvas. It's like it's like one ring to rule them all. It can like literally do everything. It just at this point doesn't know whether it's going to be evil yet or not. So let's go ahead and either load a preset. That's one way to get in, or edit effect. I'm going to choose edit effect, and you're going to launch like this is the Builder, right? And so in here we have all our Sapphire effects on the left. We have, this should be very simple to everyone, like a little just baby nodal base compositor in here, very basic. You can input a mask, you can input a background, 3 inputs it can take in, and we have a result. So if I, grab any of my Sapphire effects, this is all keyword searchable. Let's do texture folded, Mr. Milkus's favorite here.
You know it.
We can hit play. Here are all our parameters on the side here. Let's say we wanted to do texture folded, and then I wanted to take Ultra Glow, and I'm just going to double click and add Ultra Glow on top of that. So now I have 2 different effects stacked up. But let's just say now I'm done. Like, this is my world's greatest effect, right? This is fantastic. I love it. Just go ahead and turn off any of these like parameters that have a checkbox. That checks means it'll be displayed in Flame. So let's go ahead and turn all these off. And let's just do the brightness of Ultra Glow, the threshold, and let's do that hidden parameter, which you couldn't see, which actually, I don't know if you're still going to be able to see it, but that after a stretch X right there, let's put that one on there. And then texture folded, let's say like, you know what, I only want the fold speed. And then hit OK. And now when we go back, you'll see here, it just brought in those parameters. The Mocha params, which is our Mocha tracking integrated in every effect, those always come in at the end, right? But this now has allowed us to kind of create our own little custom layout. So this is kind of like, I would say, go ahead, Andy, if you have something to say.
Are these cross-platform as well?
They absolutely are, yeah. So anything you do, right? Anything you do and that is created, say, by an After Effects artist can just save that OFX preset. And I can show you guys how to input that as well. It really doesn't matter. That's the beauty of OFX it is completely cross-compatible with either AVX, OFX, or Adobe, right? So anything you create in any of our host apps can be shared, and it's how I get some of the builder presets in here as well, because I'm creating them, say, in After Effects, and then I can load them right into Flame super easy.
Oh, it's wonderful. And then like vice versa, like I can create a look for something and give it to my editor, and the editor will only have access to the parameters that they like need to change. Like if the color needs to change, but the amount of the glow should be the same, like that, to consistent across the Oh, this is wonderful.
Yep. And you can even do, where is it? We can add in some nice sticky notes, right? To say, such as, let me see if I get this over. Yep. Don't touch this, Randy.
Randy.
Right? All right. So this is actually like, I will share, this is like, almost even, some people use this even a more basic way. This is the way that I use Ultra Glow like crazy. Sorry, S Effect like crazy. Is I just make my own Sapphire plugin, which, let's just say I want Ultra Glow here, and I really 90% of my time in my work, I am an editor compositor at heart. Really just care about brightness, color, threshold, width, and then I care about Afterglow color since it's all linked. That's all I really need. And okay, right? And now, so I have my own little custom Ultra Glow. Now I save that. I save it to my user note bin, or save it to wherever. And now that's really what I use nonstop for Ultra Glow nonstop. And I just have just the parameters I exposed, those 5 I needed as well. Now you can always go back and turn those back on, right? So it's not like a destructive process. You can jump in at any point. It's just dynamically hiding in parameters. I mean, I will shout out to Will and Philippe and the Autodesk team. As you guys all know, you guys are very lucky to have such a talented team developing them. For years internally, we thought this would be an impossible task to accomplish, and those guys did it very quickly. Right? So yeah, it is fantastic. Dynamically displaying these parameters. Think of S Effect as basically now it's like one effect with like 10,000 parameters. It has everything in it, and then you can kind of control which ones get sent back to Flame. So
that's great. I guess this answers. Brooks in the chat had a question saying, "Can you add more? Like, can you go back into the builder and add more?" And I guess the answer is yes. There.
Yep. Just go ahead and add edit effect, and you jump in, and now you can add in anything. This is your full Sapphire parameters here. This is everything. It is missing, say, some of the effects, like some of the time effects, but it's like if it's it's probably like 99.9% of all Sapphire. If something isn't in Builder, there's a reason why, because it didn't work correctly or there just isn't a use for it as well. So
Yeah, some of it's
that,
also speed. Like the
sure.
time ones get really slow when you stick them in Builder.
Yep. Yep. People
For the
often.
presets,
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go. You go. You're the host.
For the well, thank you. For the presets, can you like globally define like where the presets get saved? So like if you're working in a shared environment or if you're on a SAN or something, that all your various platforms will be able to hit the same directory.
100%, right?
Cool.
So this is the Sapphire preset browser, and this is the same little Python app, right, that we have in all of Sapphire. So this is the same in any of our hosts, and it has some basic options in here. So if you want to import a preset, this is where if you wanted to bring something in directly from After Effects and somebody sent you, you can export them. It's a little text file, and then you can import them into OFX. So if you're going, cross host, this is where you can kind of choose wherever that file is. You can import that as well. And it actually has in it, where is it? Is the browser settings. Yeah. So this is where you can choose to like I like to say it's just a toaster, right? It just wants to know like where to find the bread and then where to put the toast, right? So it's like, where do I load the presets and then where do I save them? And that can totally be on a network location. It can be anywhere as
That's
well.
great.
Yeah, and there's other ways to do it too. Like if you have a setup with environment variables, there's other ways to do it to streamline it. Just whatever your workflow.
Yep. It's definitely like, it's a professional tool that's used by many, and we definitely have a lot of like clients that have it tricked out to their own kind of custom facilities and stuff, and they'd be able to share presets amongst different artists and different hosts. All of that is possible. One thing I love about it is, I will say, like, Sapphire has 3,000 presets, and like, we're all friends here, so we'll talk out of school, but there's definitely some presets that I would consider dated or not that useful in the past. They were created by Todd Previs in 2005. I love Todd.
Who?
I know. I'm just kidding. All of Todd's presets are amazing.
Google his name. Wait a minute.
Right. So he doesn't care about us. He's off in AR world now, right? So, so what we do on an ongoing basis is we deprecate some presets, and we're actually going to do a huge purge in the next one where we're really gone through hand by hand on all 3,000 presets and kind of did an up and down vote, and if it gets 2 thumbs down, then it gets deprecated. And that's basically all that means, is it's hidden. It's still there. So if you ever disagree, if you just for some reason you're like, where's my, white plasma like that I really loved, that's what that show all deprecates presets for. If you click that, everything shall be revealed. But I would suggest keeping that off, and that's our way to kind of just keep the best of the best on there as well.
And okay. I will mention that the preset browser shows both the presets from the load path and the save path. We figured sometimes, you have your team presets in the load place and you want to save your stuff locally, but the preset browser will always display both.
Yes. The preset browser has tons of different organizations. You can filter by name, you can filter by author, any of these fields. As I should get on some of these, like here's a nice Ben one that's filled out, right? So you can go ahead and search by any of these tags. We try and tag things, like we try and enter in as much organization as we want, because we know there can be a lot of people have a lot of custom presets. So you can sort by date, you can sort by name, you can sort by plugin, you can do all that stuff, and you can kind of go alphabetical. You can preview them on the original source. You can preview it on black. You can preview it on a sample if you want. We have a nice Boston skyline because we are massholes at our core, right? So we have that in there. But that's just like, this is all like saying that, like, definitely get in here and play with the preset browser, and all is possible. But there is something really different. Like if you were to watch really carefully and saw me when I went into the Ultra Zap preset browser, there's something different about the S Effect and S Transition preset browser. And that's this category right here, groups, effects, and builder effects. Like you would have just seen basically, I think, new and favorites, right? Larissa, that's all it shows in Ultra
New favorites and all, I think.
new favorites and all. So it'll show you like if you want to favorite anything, you can just click a little star here and then look at your favorites. But or you can just say let me just see what's new in the latest version, what these guys added in. But what's really great about S Effect is, like I told you before, that S Effect is every single Sapphire effect jammed into one. You can make it any effect, right? So you can look at all of Sapphire effects in one place now. So these are all the different Sapphire effects, and here are the blur presets. Let me go ahead and throw it on a sample. Here are all the different blur presets. I can step back now and look at Aurora. Here are Aurora's different presets. So it can basically be anything you want. You don't have to kind of like drag on, a blur and then look at blur. You can jump into S Effect and see everything together. And then even better, we have this category of groups, this is like basically we're taking all of Sapphire's presets and we're grouping them together by like, what general category they are. So show me like every single color grading effect. That's now all in color correction. And so you can see all the different color grades effects as well. So you can see there's tons of different like effects in here. There's bleach bypass, we have film damage in here, has some color grading effects, film effect, of course, duotone. I guarantee you'll see some dog vision in here.
Yes.
Psycho strips, like, yes, I know dog vision is our internal favorite as well. But like, but here's a nice look with Gamma, done alone, that you may not have ever actually opened up Sapphire Gamma before. I'm not going to lie to you. I probably have never opened up Sapphire Gamma, or like Threshold as well. There are so many effects. In the past, we expected you to remember that, like, oh, there's a cool kind of look in Threshold. It's called Blood Moon. And you need to remember that if ever you want to get this kind of hot, this hot reddish sky look, this kind of Miami type look. That kind of seems crazy now. With S Effect, you just drag it on and you go ahead and think about like, what kind of effect do I want to do today with Sapphire? Do I want to do a color grade effect, right? Do I want to do an abstract effect? And trust me, there's plenty of abstracts. Do I want a background, a blur, lighting, geometric, damage, all the glitches and all of this fun stuff as well. All of this like kind of tearing TV and analog type effects are all in damage as well. So there's some really fun stuff as well in here. And it just kind of seems like a kind of almost like crazy to work the other way now. Now I'm almost exclusively S Effect, just because whenever I go back to almost a single effect workflow, it definitely seems very limited to me. And I love the freedom of bits being able to hop around and kind of see everything that Sapphire has to offer in one place, if that makes sense to everybody.
Totally. That's great.
So that's like groups effects, but then there's this category called builder effects, right? So builder effects, these are pre-done builder effects that we basically, I think there's 250 in here. I like to point out there's like 250. If you've never used S Effect before, there's like 250 more Sapphire effects that are sitting there waiting for you to use. Because each one of these is a whole setup that we have created internally. And this is all just Sapphire, right? So let's go ahead and throw this one. This is a new one with an instant background. I can go ahead and load this up. It'll take a couple seconds, and it's going to load up the whole custom effect that Ben built. And I think he put some notes in here too to kind of show you in terms of like what you want to mess with. And here we go, right? So now we can go ahead and see like this is his whole setup. He's got some notes in here telling you to remember to keyframe the zoom, which I always forget. And then he's, replace this with other generators or your source clip. And this is like a great way to like deconstruct Sapphire, because you can label these things, every single, he's labeled them just infinite zoom, but you can label them anything you want. And you'll see as you get into the more complex ones, they'll label things like, highlight pass. And then you can see as to what they've created for that. It's a great way to learn the package if you've never kind of used it. Like I said, if you're one of those people, which is the majority that are just sitting with 5 Sapphire effects, you can go ahead and kind of get in here and see kind of how these advanced uses are going for. Like, how is he compositing this? He's starting with black, and then let's just preview the selected node. Okay, he's tricked out sparkles to look like this, right? And then he's using a circle white for a little vignette. And then he's using infinite zoom to repeat that as well with a little shape as a matte. Every single one of these nodes has a matte input, and they'll have backgrounds as well. And then he's using defocus prism, and then a vignette, and then he's using ultra glow on the end of these. So there are some really cool effects in here, and some of them are completely abstract and are just generators, and some are really practical. Some crazy person created the American flag just to do it, right? With all sapphire, with a bunch of shapes and colors. There is like all these full planet simulations because we have Luna, and there are some advanced muzzle flashes. Then there's like some straight, just like utilitarian effects, like like the infamous iPhone to HD. Like if I preview on sample here, putting wings on things that every avid editor has to do, and is sick of doing it in a 5-step process. They did it, and there's some, like I said, some really cool things in here. There's a zombie-fy effect, right, which is somebody is making somebody old, green skin. There's an age effect, like a actually increasing pores and wrinkles, and then beautify effects in here. There's some funny ones, some kind of born flashback effects. There's a whole bunch, man. There's like so much stuff in here. And some are created internally and some are created externally. Like everyone's name is on here. We have, Andrew Embry's created a bunch. John Dickinson's created a bunch, we have relationships with artists who kind of use this, and they pass us some of these setups and we include them in the latest release. So it's definitely fun stuff. This is a crazy one. This is one that John did, which is like this is actually Sapphire Zap that he's using to create a tree over a moon background. So it's definitely like fun to get in here and kind of see like what you can do with it. Like I always think of Sapphire really as people always want to say, what is Sapphire? Like, what does it do? You'll get a lot of people that are just instantly like push back on the price and be like, well, what exactly does it do? And I'll tell people it's about really like what you want to do with it. Like Sapphire is really a whole bunch. I think of it as almost like paints on a palette, right? And like, each one can be different, but combined together, they all work together really nicely. That's really, like Quinn pointed out earlier, like advanced flame artists have known this forever, that, Sapphire is all about combining different effects. Like rarely do you ever see it like I demo some of these, like simply put on, a piece of video and there you go. They're all real accent effects that are made to work together really well. Here is this one, and like I said, this is funny, so you can get in and see like the branches that he created are all S-Zap, and he's tweaked out Zap with a slight little wiggle in there, and then he's using the moon, and he's using night sky and comping it all together with defocus. So yeah, John is definitely a kind of mad genius with Builder in terms of what he can do with it. So it's fun to get in and play around with it and just kind of, like I said, deconstruct. I've always been somebody that's like learns a little bit better. Like I if I see a blank canvas, I get terrified, and I lock up almost in paralysis. But if I can look an effect, right, and I can rip it apart and kind of understand it, that's a lot kind of easier way for me to learn. So this definitely kind of fits in my wheelhouse as well. Everything you see in Builder, this is all math, right? So it doesn't matter. It's whatever your comp size you want it to be. You can make these 8K, 16K. We have some crazy people that work at 32K with Sapphire and Builder. There's no limitations. There's no cheats. I think there is one resolution with Luna, which is, the moon generator. It's based upon Larissa, help me out here. Is it like is it a 2K now?
The color is, I think, 4K or 8K, but it is whatever the maximum resolution NASA has.
Yeah. So that's the only really limitation we run into. You'll see crazy people use Builder and create, complex lens flare comps for stadium wraparound screens at insane resolutions. And good to know that there's really no limitations for that. It's really whatever you want to use it for. So that's really kind of like, S effect, it's that, like, let me jump forward and I'll show you some of these rendered out. I have a little string here, that we can go full screen for a couple minutes and show you guys. Let's see, here's some of the Builder. These are some of the presets. like I said, so just to recap, people like to use Builder really in like 3 ways. Like number one, the most basic way is to just get at those presets and to stop having to jump into a single effect and looking just at glow or looking at just a blur. You can start to think of Sapphire as like one whole package altogether. The other way is just to tweak that custom param setup, so you can grab your favorite effect and you can control what parameters get promoted to your host. And then number two, people go nuts like this and really kind of get in and mess around and start to combine different Sapphire effects and play with them and see what works well together, and start to like kind of mesh all the paints together and throw it all to canvas and see what sort of pollock you can make out of it. So everything is resolution independent, everything is cross host agnostic, so definitely really fun to get in here and play around with.
Wonderful.
Cool. How we doing on time?
We're at 3:00, but do you want to do a quick Ultra Zap?
Yeah, I definitely do. Like I said, strap in, everybody. I'm not going anywhere, right?
Meanwhile, just off camera to the right are Brian's 2 sons, staring at him through a pane of glass, that's drowning in tears. But yes, go ahead. Please take us. Let's see what's new in Ultra Zap.
You are not too far off from the
No.
truth. Not too far off from the truth, my friend. Okay. All right. Let's go in here. And where do I got Ultra Zap? All right, let's go. Let's just do it off black. Same thing. I'm going to do Ultra Zap. So Ultra Zap, if you guys have ever used Zap before in the past, it is the same type of technique. Like with this last release, we really wanted to improve upon effects that people use a ton. You've seen Zap used. It's been used forever. It was Yoda Lightning and some of the reboots. It was in Iron Man 2. It was Whiplash. That was Zap. Like it was used in Harry Potter. It's been used in a ton of different features. And people use it in a whole bunch of different ways. So definitely, like same thing with Ultra Glow. We were kind of messing with the Holy Grail, but we wanted to really kind of take what's good about Zap and improve upon it as well. So same type thing. Like when you jump into Ultra Zap, at first you'll see we have our control points, and we can add in a whole bunch of different splines. And we can kind of track all these with Mocha too. If we want to track all these different points are trackable with Mocha, which is great. If we jump into... Oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to say you're right. Apparently Luna is only HD. I really thought we had found the bigger picture, but... That's
okay. I think the picture exists, right? So if anybody out there wants a higher res Luna, let us know. we could add it in. So Ultra Zap, just like Ultra Glow, takes Zap, and it's the same Zap at its core. So it's the same beautiful anti-aliasing and really delicate lightning effect you've seen in the past, but it adds on top of that. And also the same thing goes that we are structuring it in the similar guided workflow. So we have bolt structure on page 2, and then we have bolt animation on page 3, and then we have branchiness. And then we have a secondary bolt structure. So you can actually you can see here, there is multiple bolts going on as well. Let me add on that so we can see. We can start to add in as many bolts on top of it. So we can have completely different colored bolts in addition to the main bolt. And page 4, this is more secondary bolt structure, secondary bolt animation. And with page 5... boom, we have Ultra Glow. So Ultra Glow is also in Ultra Zap, which makes sense. So the glow that exists upon Zap is that same Ultra Glow. So you can have that with a nice afterglow on top of it as well. And then finally, we have some different compositing nodes and Mocha tracking at the end as well. So let's go back and let's reset this and just kind of show you the big key differences. Number one, Zap was always one color, and now Ultra Zap features a really nice gradient color. So we can go ahead and see we now have a start and an end color. So we can tweak that to wherever we want, and we can get a really nice different looking glow. Let's do like a yellow to red or something. Let's do this somewhere in here, right? Let's do this a bit more. All right, and we can have as many of the main bolts as we want, right? But this is all this main bolt here. And you could do width, length. There's wrinkle to it, right? If you want to get a really nice wrinkly bolt, you can actually straighten it all out and get a really nice stroke effect, which we'll talk about in a couple seconds. You can adjust the curves. I mean, it's really like the sky's the limit for tweaking this as well. And you can taper the start, so you can have a really nice, delicate start. Let's go ahead and let me jump. I think it's on page 6. And turn off that spline so we can see this a little better. So we can have that really nice delicate start and delicate end. We can feather the bolt. We can blur the edges. We can adjust the overall brightness of the zap as well, including the glow. And if I go ahead and jump on the third here, we can have a nice offset, right? So we can animate right along that offset if we want to do a strike as well. And we can actually loop any sort of animation. So if you change a loop to 1, this will be 1 loop per second. And you can play that. You'll see we'll loop around that spline. And I'll show you how this can come useful in a couple different use cases after. We can control the direction of that loop. We can control the animation. We can look at just the branches. We could turn those branches off if we don't want all those branches or more branches. But really where it gets fun is we can add this secondary bolt here as well. So this secondary bolt is completely a secondary bolt structure. So it has all its own parameters. So you can choose all different colors. You can actually have it mimic your original bolt. So it almost becomes like a hot core to your bolt. If you want to create like a beautiful lightsaber type effect as well, that's possible with Ultra Zap. You can go ahead and this will have its own taper as well. If you wanted to taper this, it's basically, like I said, a whole secondary bolt that's looped on top of it. And same type thing with branches, different secondary branches, colors, and all the way down to the end with Ultra Glow. So we can add in that beautiful Ultra Glow we showed earlier and do in a nice secondary afterglow as well. So it's a beautiful effect. Oh, there are also highlights and atmosphere as well. So if you want to add in that like that Perlin noise type atmosphere to the glow, you can do that as well. I mean, I'm speeding through this, which is such a travesty, but look at the presets. The presets have some really cool different uses of Ultra Glow. I really love, Ultra Zap. Let's go ahead and let's preview some of these on black. There's one, like the mad scientist look is really cool in terms of this. And there's a whole nother use for this, for obviously photorealistic lightning, doing everybody, shooting lightning from their fingers nowadays, and it seems like the whole end of Wonder Woman, the first one, was just a lightning battle, right? So it's like this effect is there for that, and it's really made perfectly for that. But it's also, you can get a really nice stroke effect out of this. So if I go ahead and load the preset, same type thing, look for that full reset for Ultra Zap. And this is kind of a starting point, right? And now we can start to do some of the stuff we looked at with some of those looping techniques. So if I go ahead and jump to the second page, actually it's the third page, and I'll put that Ultra Start, and let's go ahead and put that one loop on top, and we can start to loop around, right? And control this with the splines, and we can get those different type gradient looks on there, so we could start to get some fun type effects. And we'll do stuff like this, and looping along there with our animation, and then start to add in some of those secondary bolts. So let's go ahead and add in one of those secondary bolts, right? And let's do that. Go back to the first bolt, the bolt structure, and I want to increase the width of that bolt, right? And I'm going to taper it as well with the secondary bolt structure. And I'm going to go to page 4 and do that nice taper. And let's go back and see if I did the taper. There we go. sides as well. So we get that nice hot spot in there. And let's go ahead and up the brightness a little bit. Let's change this to white. So we can move that nice highlight through there. We get that nice hot core as well. And let's go ahead and we can just add in a bunch more. And you could really play around and start to get some really cool looks, especially with Ultra Glow. We can add on this type of effect here. And let's go ahead and put the width down. And just dial in that threshold. So, like, why am I showing you guys these stroke looks? Because what's really cool is in why we kind of did all this work is because in some of the other hosts like After Effects, you can take a piece of type, right, and you can get this really cool stroke effect right around the edges of your type. So you get all of these really hot Ultra Glow examples with text and all that. That is an After Effects only feature. But one of the ways we're working for the next version of Ultra Zap is allowing the input of Mocha splines as well. So you'll be able to go into Mocha and you'll be able to draw any spline you want. You can use the magnetic tool to attract around a piece, find the edges of a piece of text really easily, and apply this Ultra Glow with the looping stroke effect. You can use open splines, which are tracked, right? So you could have these like single fat lines of electricity shooting out of fingertips really easily as well. It's really kind of like the sky's open for Ultra Zap and bringing in that added functionality that currently exists only in After Effects, but adding it in to Flame as well through the Mocha splines. So that is kind of my like little 2 or 3 minute overview of Ultra Zap and reset back. So it's one of my favorites. It's a classic Sapphire effect that really has a whole bunch of different uses. Like I said, you can use it just for lightning, or you can use it really for some motion graphics or any sort of like really kind of neat spline effect as well.
A couple of questions for you that came in during Ultra Zap. The first was from John. Are there any effects that support the 3D environment in action? I don't think you can do OFX in action, but is there do any of the Sapphire plugins have a camera? Like, could you import like an FBX camera or something like that in there?
So Sapphire at its core, Larissa, feel free to jump in, right? But Sapphire is a 2D set of plugins, right? That being said, you can definitely do some 3D-esque effects in it. Like Zap itself has a 3D mode, and it has your 3D camera attributes. You're going to have to write an expression to link those to the camera, but it has your pivot, and it has your orbits and all that as well. So correct, there is no OFX in action right now. So everything, if you're going to do with Sapphire, it's really like a big cheat kind of, but it's definitely possible. And I've seen people do it all the time.
And then we do have a handful of effects that do work with depth maps. We have Z Blur, we have Z Glow, Z Convolve. And yeah, those just take a standard depth map.
Cool.
I wanted to show guys as we go out too. We don't have time to go through these, but there's a whole bunch of Sapphire transitions as well.
Oh, I just discovered Sapphire transitions. I've been using them in Premiere, and they're amazing.
They all work, right? Let me go full here. By the way, whenever I do stock footage, I just use the keyword creepy, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, what a way to end, you know? I mean, we'll all have...
just pretty much...
Next week on Logic Live, we're going to deconstruct the nightmares that we had.
It's amazing what people shoot. And like that guy came up as creepy too, which I loved. I instantly, yes, that's a big,
it's what's on the
yes.
inside.
That's a big yes. So just like there are tons of Sapphire transitions like Swish Pan, and you're seeing in here one of these new ones called Hyper Push and Hyper Pull. This one coming up right there. But there's also S transition, which is just like I showed you guys with S effect. So you can load in that little nodal-based compositor in your transitions, and you can start to stack and layer different Sapphire effects, like a glow plus a blur, which I call a glur, which is actually a pretty useful transition. But then there are also some of these pre-built S transition ones, which are like the complex ones that you see here, like film rolls with RGB distortion and a bunch of cool stuff as well. So if you're interested in transitions, check them out. They all work great in the Flame timeline. You just load up an OFX transition and grab S transition, and you can throw it on your timeline and choose any of your presets. I think there's 200 advanced, maybe 100 or something. There's a bunch in there. So people are always complaining, like editors too, oh my God, like, we have, more transitions. This is a way to give them the tool to kind of create ad infinity. And I will say the neat thing is right now, we're definitely kind of, like I said, wouldn't it be great if some of these effects came over via AAF or some sort of automated, so you're going to take your sequence that maybe had a bunch of Sapphire transitions and move that right over to Flame. That's definitely the dream and something we're working towards.
Oh, great. There was one more question in the chat before we wrap it up.
Yep.
And that was wondering if Sapphire can do liquids, like a blood drip or something that can be applied to a motion vector map or a bump map. Are there any liquid effects?
There's a lot of distortion and warping effects that you can cheat, but there's not like any sort of straight liquid. Like there's definitely some, I've seen some paint some stuff, and I've seen some really cool distortion effects added onto it, but there's nothing in there that's going to do kind of a liquid drip from scratch. It's going to be like part of a big batch setup and maybe part of it, but nothing on there that's like, just straight out the box liquid drips.
Cool. I know I've used S-Distort to take something that was just like a flat, like that I drew with a mask, to give it that little bit of reflection or refraction or whatever to try to fake the liquid. Cool. Well, thank you both very, very much.
Oh my God, I feel like I ran a marathon. It's like,
all
right.
Hold on. You're standing again. Let me switch cameras. Hold on.
I'm going up.
We're going up. All right. Well, while Brian is transitioning, we're gonna do a transition of our own and give away some prizes here at Logik Live. The first thing I'm gonna give away is a Logik Live T-shirt to one lucky winner. I think I have everybody's name here in the Wheel of Fun, or the Wheel of Names, which I believe is brought to you by well, thank you. It's kind of retro, and it's a piece of stock music. I know this because I was using like Match Game or something, and that got flagged by the YouTube algorithms. So I did a Google search for something, or a stock search for like retro game show, and
it's very Price is Right.
It kind of makes me wish I had like one of those like slender, like a Bob Barker microphone.
It's like
there's something for the over 40 crowd here at Logik Live. Okay, let's see who's getting a T-shirt. Brooks. Congratulations, Brooks.
Congratulations.
Woohoo. All right.
Such production value. You guys are spoiling the audience.
It's all 8 bits is what we're trying to use here in color. But the next up is a piece of BorisFX merch. Right? If you go to the BorisFX website and click on purchase and merch, you can find all this great stuff. And this, by the way, this, for me, the merch that you have with S-Glow, like this, is wonderful. Okay? And I regret, one of my greatest regrets in life is I didn't buy one and wear it for today. But
That's okay.
But you know what? It's Flame. I'll change it before I post the replay. But we're going to be giving away, Brian, what is it in the store that we're going to be giving away?
Whatever you would like. It's your choice. If you want that fanny pack, get that fanny pack. Right?
Amen.
I think that's Ross's idea of a joke.
Or that could be the title of his autobiography,
Yes. Yep.
Just in pointing like this. All right, so here we go. Spinning the wheel. This is for anything in the BorisFX store. Cesar!
Congratulations.
All right, and finally we have the grand prize for today, which is a 1-year license of the entire BorisFX Suite, correct?
That is correct. This is everything we make. This is Sapphire Continuum, Silhouette, Optics, Continuum, Mocha. This is 12-month subscription to everything. We call this Big Boy Toys. This is everything.
Nice. All right, so here it is. This is for the Big Boy Toys. Round and round it goes. This is as close to Vegas as we're getting. Heart Aid! Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Woo-hoo. All right. Congratulations. All right, let's put an end to this music. There we go.
I love it. I love it.
Wait, we'll let it. We're gonna end it.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
steal that. I'm gonna steal that.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you. We'll share the license. All right. So I just want to thank. Before I close this out, I just want to say thank you to Larissa and to Brian. Wait, which camera? This camera. Thank you, Larissa and Brian, for an awesome presentation. This was great. We really appreciate it, and thank you for making yourself available to the community. We really appreciate it. And also, please, everybody. I know I say this every week. Wednesdays. At a much more acceptable and reasonable time than, no, it's still 2 p.m., right? But Wednesdays at 2 p.m., right? Is that when you do BorisFX Live?
Yep. Every other week, I will say, we have one coming up in 2 weeks. So it's 20 years of Mocha Pro. We're doing a live stream in 2 weeks. I think it's like the 21st of the Wednesday. So Phil and Alan, who are the original creators of Mocha, along with JP and Ross, like it's that original 4 team, are all going to be there. We're going to be kind of looking back in history of like the history of Mocha, how it got started, telling a bunch of war stories through the years. So it'll definitely be a fun one. Come check us out. That's in 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Wednesdays at 2. Yeah, we try and do them every 2 weeks. Don't hold me if I'm not not as fastidious as yourself.
Oh, no, I hear you. And rumor has it you're going to be giving away some of Ross's glasses too. Is that as a prize?
It's his superpower, so he's holding on tightly to those glasses. But yeah.
Nice.
We will be giving away those. But yeah, come see us. It's fun. It's very similar to this, although ours, as you could tell, run 2 to 3 hours because I don't know how you get anything done in an hour. I feel like we just started. Right?
Well, that's maybe for next year, for 2022, we'll expand Logic Live to maybe like the full spread of the worst possible day of the week. But
that's when you bring Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't get more worse than Sunday. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do for the community. I will say it goes noticed by us, right? The Flame community is a great one. Logic is a hive mind, and you're a big part of that. So thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Speaking of Logic Live, hold on. I ruined this, Randy. Hold on. What am I doing? I'm going to go solo. There we go. Right. So speaking of Logic Live, let's go. Here's what's coming up. Next week, we're going to try something fun with our friend Amanda Elliott called What's Everyone Working On? It's going to be, we're going to do this through Zoom. It's going to be kind of like a little user group kind of format where everybody will just kind of get together and, kind of share what they're working on. If you have something you can show, great. If you can't show the material, but you can just say that, I'm working on a spot, I'm working on a show, I'm working on something with beauty, or I'm trying to comp CG. There's always something to learn, and everybody. There's one thing I've learned from doing all the Logic Live stuff. The best way to learn is to have just kind of like a group conversation, and ultimately someone's going to run into a problem that someone else has solved. And so let's try to do that next Sunday, September 19th. We're going to follow that up with the return of Joel Osis, right? Get ready.
CISO Leos. That's how I remember.
That's right. That was his Facebook name for the longest time. Yeah. Which was awesome because it was unique and simultaneously impossible to find, But Joel is going to be back.
I remember being disappointed when I found out his name was Joel. I was like, what? No, that's CISO.
Nice. Well, Joel will be back on the 26th. We're looking forward to that. Sunday, October 3rd, we're going to look at NIM, the project management application, with our friend Andrew Sinagra from NIM Labs. And on October 10th at 2 p.m., we're going to do a virtual user group. Like I put on the slide at the beginning, if you have anything you'd like to share with the community, just send me an email at andy@logic.tv. Also, very excited to announce this, that Brian Fox is coming back to Logic Live. We're going to do a double header with Brian on Thanksgiving Day and Christmas morning. So I just want to say thank you, Brian. Please extend the thanks to your entire family. Let's get
weird. Let's get weird, people. Let's spend the holidays.
Thank you. Speaking of Let's Get Weird, Randy, thank you very much for everything you've done with the forum. If you have not signed up to the forum, and I know that the Streambot was sending out a link, please head over to forum.logic.tv and become part of the community. Again, I believe I still have the birthday. Yes, the forum has been running for a little bit over a year now. And it's just become a wonderful resource for the Flame community. Thank you, Randy. This episode of Logic Live, like all previous ones, will be available at Logik.tv very shortly. If you haven't already subscribed to our 2 podcasts, please do. The first one is called Ask a Flame Artist. Randy hosts that with MB Emmy, who I saw in the chat, so she was here today. Hello, MB, I miss you. If you have a question you'd love to have answered, head on over to Logik.tv/Ask a Flame Artist. It's also available in the drop-down menu. And then we also have the Logic podcast. My most recent episode was an interview with Jean-Marc Laurent. Fantastic interview with a really, really fascinating flame artist and entrepreneur. We talked about work from home and just, it was wonderful. I highly recommend you checking it out. You can get both of our podcasts at any of with your podcatching app of choice, but they're available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Randy, I updated this graphic for you specifically to show we have now reached the incredible number of 1.16 thousand subscribers to Logic Live. So thank you to everybody. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support what we're doing here with Logic, please go ahead and sign up at patreon.com/LogicTV. One of the benefits of being a patron is we're going to go ahead and do an exclusive Q&A with Brian and Larissa right after this on Zoom, and that's available to our patrons. So please go ahead and sign up. If you need anything in the way of engineering support, either remote or on-prem, you can reach out to Tom and Tom at Gunpowder by emailing them at info@gunpowder.tech. And again, Brian gave that great rundown of all the pricing structure for Sapphire and for Mocha at the top of the show. Those prices did not include a 15% discount, which you can get by using Logic-15 at checkout. So please, if you're going to pick up anything from Boris, be sure to use our discount code. The merch store is open. And if you do end up buying anything, please send a picture. We've gotten some great photos that I'll share in future shows from people all around the world. Thank you, AJA. And thank you very much, Synesis, for your support of the Logic community. That's going to do it for this week, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Have a great, great week. Thanks, Brian and Larissa.
Thanks, Andy.